Overthinking, what does it mean? The byproduct of anxiety. Welcome. Anxiety is not a new topic. Everyone knows what overthinking is too. Or do we? What makes people anxious? Short answer? The anticipation of a negative reaction from the environment, or in other words, from the people around them. If you want a different take on anxiety, look at it this way: it's kinda like when children fear to get scolded, laughed at, or disliked. Anxiety in adulthood works in similar ways. Not convinced? Well, of course, we're just getting started. Stick around a bit, it might surprise you. The thing with children is that they react to emotions and reactions from other people that are in their surroundings. As a child grows and develops, they go through a ton of changes. Being able to tell the difference between an important reaction from a less important one is one sign of a mind development going in the right direction. Here's why. Children have a nasty habit of name-calling, or pointing out differences that do not apply in their reality. That is why one of the reasons for bullying between children is being different from the rest. Different equals a target. That is the reason why children try to fit in so desperately. A sense of belonging to a certain group makes the child feel safe. Here's the thing, it takes time for kids to figure out that not all reactions, comments, and opinions are worth stressing over. Children see the world in terms of black and white. This is good and that is bad. What is this and what is that is a different issue. But children learn by these rules that adults set for them. As they grow, the children are able to find new rules to live by, but for that to happen their minds need to properly mature first. But in the beginning, it's all more or less the same. For instance, when a child gets called ugly or weird, they react to the negativity of the bad thing and get upset, regardless of whether it is true or not. Same thing can happen with other things, like not doing homework equals getting yelled at, a negative outcome. A mispronounced word in class equals teasing later, another unwanted reaction. A good image and a sense of belonging for children are a strong motive to be anxious. Oh, an honorable mention. Some children may exhibit signs of anxiety while having a higher than average maturity for their age, because they are too self-aware. That is an early sign of a strong mindset in the making, but on the shy side. Quite fragile at this stage too, so keep that in mind. Anyways, children lack the maturity of the mind to be able to tell the difference between the words said and who spoke them. They say that an insult can only hurt a person when the person lets it hurt them. Sure, there is the option of ignoring all of the bad words. That way the person will never be hurt by any insult. However, it's not the case of staying positive 24/7. Not every bad thing said is a bad thing. A person also has the option of selecting which people and their opinions are worth paying attention to. This is one way how personal growth can be achieved. A strong mindset is able to do so, whereas a weak mindset, sadly, not so much. Now, the basic principle behind anxiety is that a person fears a negative reaction from the people around them in general. They do not isolate situations or people. Similar to children, adults with anxiety fear becoming the cause for an unpleasant reaction. As a result of it, the person tends to overthink. What that does is that the negative plausible scenarios, start rolling inside a person's mind like a broken record. It's that possibility that scares the person and makes them anxious. Right, side note, overthinking does not always mean depression. Please keep that in mind. Now then, nobody has ever overthought in a positive way. Well, it's debatable, but overthinking is usually viewed and is used in a negative way only. But if on occasion positive overthinking does happen, the usual response to it is, you're getting ahead of yourself. You know you've heard it before, don't deny it. It is only fair to mention that overthinking can be confused with analyzing, but there is a crucial difference between the two. Allow to quickly elaborate. Overthinking usually happens to one side of things, negative, being the typical case, or positive. Analyzing is looking at both the negative and the positive possible outcomes. Any situation can go either way. Nothing is set in stone. That's why it can even be called being prepared or planning. Flexibility and the ability to adapt are signs of a strong mindset. Deciding on the outcome before anything even happens, with no grounds to support it, is what the weak mindset tends to do. Moving on. Anxiety has become associated with a negative impression, even though it can also be a positive thing. Like being excited about something, but cannot help feel just a hint of fear still. Although, being anxious in a positive way usually is referred to as anticipation, which is similar, but usually that applies to positive scenarios and outcomes in general. Anxiety with a little bit of unknown is anxiety. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing though. Just throwing it out there. Now, onto the serious part. Depression. A person does not need to have depression to have anxiety. However, sweating the small stuff, aka overthinking, too much, can become a cause for depression. What happens is, the brain overheats from the constant state of alarm and kaboom. Then the mind just gives up and goes, "I'm tired, boss." The sensible, rational thinking shuts down and anxiety takes over with its doom and gloom. That's when depression moves in and makes itself comfortable in the person's mind. Afterwards, everything spirals down into the abyss of negative outcomes onlyville, and well, you know how the rest of the story goes. Moral of the post? Overthinking is not depression, but depression is overthinking. Anxiety is not depression, but depression is anxiety. You have reached the end of this post. Thanks for listening, stay tuned for more, and always remember, mental health is important. Take care.